Get ready. Here it comes.
We're recording.
We're recording Artie Quitter podcast. Let me tell you something. I am with a guy who is one of my favorite people. He doesn't know that.
Well, now I do.
You do? What do you read?
You just said it.
You read my blog? No, I got to tell you, you go into stand-up comedy. One of the best things about being in stand-up is, you meet people who, could be totally different than you, but you get along with them somehow because they're interesting people. You meet a lot of interesting people. And, Dan Naturman is my guest, by the way. Dan, hello.
How do you do?
Yeah, he's in the
And thank you for that great compliment.
Well, I have more.
Oh, okay.
Do you see the cue cards? I call this the Artie enclosure. You're in the Artie enclosure. And because I'm a baby gorilla. It's a long story. Google me. That's my nickname that Don Rickles himself gave me. So fuck off. I'm really in show business. Dan was on my show technically before, but in Montreal in my hotel room.
Yeah, about almost exactly a year.
Yep. That's right. And he was with Orny Adams. It was a dual guesting thing. And that's the famous show where Orny Adams, Dan and I pressed him on how he would give back to the comedy community. He told us if he made $100 million like Seinfeld, he would give back to the comedy community. And we said how, and we pressed him. And he totally abandoned trying to be funny. And ironically enough, that's when he was funny. When he stopped trying to make a funny answer, and he gave us a serious answer, and that's when he was funny. The funny answers were terrible. But when he gave us the serious answer, it might be the funniest thing I've ever heard. So the way he'd give back in a serious way is, when you're a comedian, you have to start doing what they call open mics, where you go to these awful, awful spots that are not always at comedy clubs. It could be at delis. I went to one when I was starting out on Madison and 31st Street in Manhattan. It was a pizzeria. I wonder if the pizzeria is still open. But the guy threw up a microphone in the back and said, it's an open mic and trying to make money. And he gave us all garlic knots. 8 comedians, garlic knots. Nobody showed up. I think he ate the garlic knots. He lost money. I ate almost every garlic knot I ate. One black kid was giving me a look like he was hungry or something. And I said, you don't like garlic knots, do you? He goes, no, it's the first time I heard of the Atkins diet. He was like, Atkins diet. But the comedy boom with open micing, comedy, a deli, the OTB on 7th Avenue, I think, had a comedy night, sports bars, and the open mic is when other comedians go just to try out material, and the only audience is usually other comedians, and it's the worst. Dan, did you do a lot of open mics?
I did some. I try to avoid them because, as you said, everybody in the audience was other comedians. They couldn't be less interested in laughing at what you were saying.
They're actually rooting against you.
Yeah, more often than not. I did bringer shows where you had to bring your friends.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the step. Okay, the next step is what they call the bringer, where you go. It's not like an open mic night, but you have to bring the audience. You have to bring sometimes 4 people, or you couldn't get up. And that could work out well, because if the other comics did their job, you had an audience of strangers, right? I mean,
yeah, it was actually pretty good because everybody was there, was supportive, and
right.
Everybody,
right, that's true, yeah.
The only problem is if you brought a lot of people, they put you on last because they didn't want your people to leave. So you brought 10 people.
Well, that's true. Some people would bring like their Aunt Millie, who was 82, and after, are you going on first? And when they would leave.
They would leave after their person went on. So just to make sure that didn't happen,
right.
If you brought the most people, you'd usually go on dead last.
It was great about that. Sometimes, what I would do? I would go on first, and, these people were not going to leave until they saw their family member. And I would say the most offensive things to try to walk them, but they wouldn't walk because they had to support them. So I'd dig a hole that would normally make, like, I'd say I'm pro, I said the Holocaust never happened, blah, 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 N-words, constant N-word usage, but the real fucking word. No walking because they have to stay to see their kid. And it was a fun exercise.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was an interesting sort of reality show type thing that I was going to pitch. You talk about mean. You know what just reminded me of? Greg Fitzsimmons really had this idea for a reality show, and he told me he wanted to pitch it to Howard because he thought Howard's the only guy who would do it. It was called Dream Police, okay? What happens is people approach them and they say there's someone in their family who has been trying to make it in show business for now it's been like 20 years, and they're affecting other people in their lives. Like they keep asking the parents for money, fiancés, supporting them, blah blah blah, and they have to, but they don't have the guts to tell them you have to quit, and you're really just a waiter. You have to quit and get a day job, because maybe he has a degree in marketing or something.
Yeah.
So if they don't have the guts to do it, they go to Greg Fitzsimmons and the Dream Police.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's actually not bad.
Right, and Greg, and all his snarkiness. I love Greg, but he could be snarky. And other comics who are, maybe like myself, maybe, bitter, angry people, find the kid waitering at Applebee's, and on camera, he doesn't know this is going to happen with his family.
Yeah.
You have an intervention, and you say, look, it's not working. Whatever he's doing, like you're a singer, you suck.
Yeah.
You have a tape of him singing and sucking. You show him, and you see how other people react. And you go, look, the gloves are off here. You're terrible. And that's a show. And how do you feel about that show?
I actually think it's not a bad idea.
That's the best reaction.
I mean, it's cruel, but it's
cruel.
But I think it would be certainly entertaining.
It's cruel.
Yeah, I think so. And some people, it might benefit them.
Right.
Well, I doubt it. Nobody ever listens to reason.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to do it, what happens is I always said to myself, I'll do this as long as I'm not affecting someone else's life. In other words, if I do get married and she enters into this, awful situation on paper anyway, it's me in any life form, in any job. That's already a step back family-wise. I'm sure they're not doing fucking cartwheels. I mean, I'm a successful comic. I couldn't get families to like me. Like, what are you doing? What? Who are you dating? Who? They thought the cable was out when I wore them for fucking Christmas. Scumbags. Anyway, never did a wasp. That's all I'll say. Cut that out there. I said that. So these guys, I think in their head, look, they don't think they're affecting other people, but they are, right? I think maybe they're breaking their mother's heart. Well, we talked about this before. You're an incredibly accomplished guy as far as education is concerned. You're a very bright kid, if I might say. I feel like Jerry Lewis. You're a bright kid, got a great head of hair.
Right.
And you went to Wharton School of Business, very hard to get into. Trump went there. And you, Fordham Law degree.
Yeah, I took it was a slight step down from Wharton to Fordham.
Yeah.
Fordham is not as good as Wharton.
Still, but I mean, it's known for law.
But it's a decent law school.
Right.
Yeah.
Went there? Vince Lombardi.
Oh,
but he learned football.
Oh, okay.
Which was much more prosperous. And so your family must have been upset when you said, I'm going to be a comedian. Right? I mean, how do they feel about that to this day? Are they still depressed?
No, I don't. No.
Do you need the Dream Police?
Well, I don't know.
Would you be the first contestant?
The Dream Police have to decide whether to take out a warrant for my arrest. That's not my decision.
How would you react, Dan, if Greg Fitzsimmons and I showed up with a camera crew and said, we're the Dream Police? And
yeah, not well.
We said we have your degree from Fordham. Framed. Where's your degree from Fordham?
What is it? Where is it? It's somewhere.
Is it at the Comedy Cellar?
My apartment
next to your headshot?
My apartment is not well. It could be anywhere.
It's in your apartment.
It could be in the fridge.
Is it kosher?
No.
Now, what about your degree from Wharton?
That's also lying around somewhere. I mean,
I
have a pile.
That's impressive, man.
I have a pile of date books from my 20 years worth of date books that I probably should throw out.
What do you mean date books?
Now I use my phone, but in the old days when I would write my gigs down.
Oh, I still do that.
I would write it down on a date book, and there just piles up
still
there,
have
And
now, is it hard for you? Is there some sort of...
If I looked at them from 20 years ago, say roughly the same thing it says now. It'd be like, set Comedy Cellar, 8 p.m.
What if
I was hoping by now it would say things like "be on set," tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
But 20 years worth of books, they all say Comedy Cellar, Comedy Cellar, Comedy Cellar.
Dance with Ellen. 9:15. I gotta tell you.
But anyway, yeah. So
whatever. It's terrible. It's like, that's the other thing. Then you put a spin on it. Like, was I a success? Did I make it? Like, I wanted to be obviously Jim Carrey, and I landed where I am, wherever that is. And I have a very odd career to look back on. It's not like conventional. It's, there's clear successes that aren't even clear. They're kind of foggy successes. And there's extraordinary failures. But, and everything in between. But you know, I made enough money to get my mom a house, I guess. And you say, all right, that's not, in other words, I have enough to spin it. I can spin in my head at the end of the day. It was worth leaving the port as a longshoreman.
No, I think. I mean, well, you always when you see the people above you, you always say, "Oh my God, they're successful," and then when you know, right. So I look at you and like, "Holy shit, I would love to have."
Is that true? I mean, you're always very nice to me. You always say that. And it makes me feel good.
Yeah, most people would.
But
say
you say it out of anger, I think.
No, do you have anger? I don't know.
No, you have anger. You say,
oh, do I?
You say that, and you go like, "Well, yeah, yeah." The past.
No, I don't. Was it? No.
I do appreciate it. No, but but you really think I'm that much more? I mean, like, how much? I'm not that much more successful. Like the difference between me and you, and the
I would say it's a pretty big difference. Between
but what I'm saying is the difference between me and you, career-wise, and me and like say David Schwimmer, like me and Schwimmer, he's way more successful than I am of you. You understand?
All right, yeah, maybe so.
I think.
But Schwimmer's not a comic, so I'm not going to put him in.
Okay, stand-up wise, you know. Well, Amy Schumer talking about it. I mean, the difference between me and Amy is way bigger than me and you.
Right, that's probably true.
You know what I'm saying? Because you do get to a certain point. I mean, I've lost a lot of money. If you go to Celebrity Net Worth, this is what pissed me off.
Is that even accurate, Celebrity Net Worth?
It's accurate. You know what it is? It's the money I should have.
Okay.
Celebrity Net Worth doesn't have the stats of the fucking times Tony Romo fucking covered over the Giants. Okay, they don't have those fucking statistics. They don't have the times of the fucking Dominican.
Well, what does it list you as?
With 12 million.
12?
I should have that.
You should have.
I should have about that. Yeah, about
wow.
10 to 12. Yeah, I really killed it.
That's pretty substantial.
Well, I killed it for a while with the, you know. But the fucking Howard, you know, I was making.
That was all from the road?
Well, I was making $100,000 a night.
Wow.
Jackie, you know, the problem with Jackie is Jackie never blew it out and became a real, like, he never got booked in these real rooms. And he would say to me, Jackie would say, how come you immediately got on Letterman? Because I was already a regular on Conan when I got to Howard. You know, I was 5 years of regular show business. And I said, Jack, I hate to tell you, like, Letterman's not going to quote you. You tell old jokes. How do you you go in a joke book, you tell old jokes. They don't book guys like that. I said, you're a master joke teller. And he is. Masterful. I've seen him live, and he destroys. The walls move. But they're old jokes. And, you know, weren't you there when Lenny Bruce changed all of that? Like, remember Richard Pryor and George Carlin? You were like 19. You just bypass that and you know... I don't know. That's why you're not a Letterman. I don't know what to tell you. And he could have gotten better gigs. Yeah, Vegas. I was getting 100 G's. I made 100. I'll give it to you. I made 140 grand. Super Bowl Eve, the year 2000. Dan, I was at the Mandalay Bay in Vegas. All right, I did 2 shows, 60 grand a pop. They paid me $20,000 to stand in a VIP area at the stupid dance club, Jet, I think it was. They said, just stand there for 2 hours, take pictures with people, and let us put it in the paper. You were there. I said, is that really a fucking drumming up business? That I'm at a dance club? I said, that's fine. I'm not looking at gift horse in the mouth here. 20 G's, I mean, but I'm not, what am I, Scott Disick? I thought they would get more from you.
No, I don't know who that is.
Do you live in America? He's the.
I do live in America.
But now you know what?
I do live in America.
I gotta tell you something.
I also didn't recognize 50 Cent when I met him.
Well, he looks like any black guy that got shot in the face.
But I met him in a context where it was like, hey, this is Fitty. And it was him. Him and all his boys.
Right. Well,
I didn't know which one was him.
And his African American friends. I met him at Stern. He had a bulletproof vest on, and I said, "Is there a reason? Are you afraid someone's going to shoot you right now? Because I'm 2 feet from you." And he was offended by that. But no, I don't know. It's the fame thing, the recognition. I don't know. I what were we talking about before?
Did you ever say how Orny was going to give back?
No, wait. What was it just saying?
It's $12 million.
Yeah, 10 million.
20 grand to stand
okay, I was just saying. Okay, there you go. Thank you. So, and you know what else? They said there was a beautiful blonde that kept walking past. I'll call it my enclosure at the Jet. And I was hoping a little kid fell in there. That was of age that I could adjust their shorts. And I said, look at that girl. I said, I'd love to talk to that girl. And the guy said, that's a whore. And she was stunning. I said, really? That's a hooker? I said, what is she called? He goes, like, on Super Bowl Eve, they fly whores in from all over the world. That's what they do, and they undercut each other. So for $500, I've done this. You get a young Carmen Electra for $500, and they're pissed that the price is so low. Fucking yelling at me, goofing at me because I kept my socks on. Fuck you. Like that's your what anger are you giving me? That's anger on your part. I'm sorry you're not dating the lead singer of Cypress Hill. Didn't work out for you. I apologize. You know Cypress Hill?
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Anyway, you know what happens is when I explain who Scott Disick is, there's no way not to sound gay. He's married to which Kardashian is he married to? Dan? You know it.
I don't know, Artie.
Okay, no.
Courtney.
Yeah.
He was. I think they're separated now.
Dan took the gay. Oh, the separation. Now, knowing Courtney.
But
no, dude. There's a gray area that you're gay knowing Courtney. Knowing they're separated. My God. I got hot pants.
And there's
bedazzling hot pants.
There's a report this morning that she might be pregnant with his fourth child.
Dan, I really don't. I just wanted to know what the fuck what the name of the broad was. Now we get Dan's fucking Entertainment Tonight report. We'll get to that later. Dan's Gay Minute.
Well, I have a number one lead story.
What?
I have the number one lead story for today.
We're all over the place. This is why we don't get the podcast awards. This is why, because quite frankly, it's inconsistent. What? Okay, what, Dan? What's the lead story?
There was a man knifed to death outside the Notting Hill travel shop yesterday.
What?
Yeah.
Dan, that's not the lead story. That's an inside joke. Absolutely no instincts comedically. None. Dan, poor Dan Naturman.
He's only made fun of it for 4 years.
Dan. Dan Naturman doesn't know anything about what we're talking about, so he feels left out. He's a guest. He feels maybe we were goofing on him.
No.
Dan is a huge fan of the movie Notting Hill.
Well, I like Notting Hill.
Thank you. Oh, my God.
Okay.
I mean, when I saw it,
I'm going to isolate it and
Okay, well, you're one. I'm saying you're not manly for it. Dan Naturman's not exactly James Caan. You're one guy who cooperated. Are you? But here's this. Would you put it in your top 10? Dan has it in his
of
top
all
10.
time, probably not, but I enjoyed it.
Dan has The Godfather and Notting Hill in the top 10. That means you're weird. So anyway, I'm in the enclosure. Dan, I'm trying to tell a heterosexual. Dan, I have a heterosexual story. What are you laughing at?
He started to sing the song from the movie.
I thought that was you.
She might be
No.
Play.
Oh my God. I'm surrounded by cock.
You are my favorite podcast guest so far.
Oh, shut up.
Might be a heaven or a hell.
Is that really the fucking song?
Yes. Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello, yeah.
Oh, that is him. Boy, he's fucking... What a drop from Pump It Up. What a drop. Accidents will happen, and then that. They did happen, buddy. Accidents happen, all right.
Inside her shell.
Oh. I like Oliver's Army. How about that song? 2 N-words in it. Out of nowhere. You know Oliver's Army by
yeah.
I don't know what it's about. I guess it's a rebellious song about the labor.
It may not be about, people always try to figure out what songs are about. More often than not, they're not about really anything.
Well, no, he did explain that song. Obviously, it's not racist. It's him using it in a context where it's not. Like you said, German on America's Got Talent.
Right.
You were not being anti-German. The lyric is, if you're out of luck, you're out of work, we'll take you to Johannesburg. One itchy trigger, one less widow, one less white nigga. All of us. Okay. Well, you know what happened to Elvis Costello? Another famous story. He was drunk in a bar in England, and he called Ray Charles a blind, ignorant nigger in front of a Rolling Stone reporter. Drunk. Because Ray Charles claimed that word did not have any effect on him. He didn't care. And he said, I'll prove it to you. And he yelled it out. And Elvis Costello couldn't get the stadiums. He was outcast. The Corleone family will be outcast. Even Bruce Springsteen will run for cover. Okay, so we see this hot blonde. The guy goes, that's a whore. And I go, she's stunning. I mean, I'm telling you, Dan Naturman, she looked like... a little like a young Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm not lying to you.
Yeah. I heard a rumor that she was I mean, I doubt it's true, but I once heard a rumor that
I heard that Goldie Hawn full-blown hooker. Full-blown.
Did you hear that? I heard that.
Like walking with clogs on 48th Street. Where you going, sailor? That type of thing.
You heard that for real?
Absolutely. A couple of Teamsters claim they fucked her.
Yeah, well.
Also, Teamsters claim they all fucked Sarah Jessica Parker. This is a complete rumor.
Yeah.
And a couple say they fucked Matthew Broderick too. That's true. No, the two awful rumors that probably are not true. But that Sarah Jessica Parker banged a lot of Teamsters and of course, who told me that Teamsters and a couple of firemen. As you know, I speak their language.
Right.
And yeah,
they wouldn't let me crap in their firehouse. Did I tell you that story?
You told me. Yeah, okay. That's terrible. Do you think that was anti-Semitic?
No, not well. Indirectly anti. It wasn't anti-Semitic. It was anti who I am, which happens to be Semitic.
Well, who are? Well, you know,
it was just I felt that if it were somebody if it were Robert like Kelly me. Or like you,
right? You fat white guys,
just a guy that they could relate to.
Right, so I feel like when you say that to me all the time, and I feel like you're calling me stupid, and all the fireman community is stupid. Well, if me and you walk by the Wharton School of Business, and a guy came out with a tweed jacket on a pipe, well, I wouldn't be allowed to shit there. I'll go. This really happened to me too.
That may be true.
Do you remember my DirecTV show? Those two blondes.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Okay, they were from Wasp, fucking entitled, spoiled. Blue blood, old money in New York and Chicago. Old money. Vanderbilt type shit. Okay? They lived on 96th and Park. I said it! In that area. Okay. Upper East Side. And I would tell them as a joke, go out of your building and make a left, which is Harlem in 2 seconds. And remember the word punta if you get in trouble. And I said, I had to go there. Their aunt lived there. Really, a lot of money, their aunt. A lot of money. If I told you the job, and I'll tell you off the air what she did. Big wig in a major company. And I had to, not even shit, take a leak. I'd take a leak. I said, can I take? Oh, of course you can. No, you can't. I go, why? Our aunt Googled you, and she's very. I said, what? Your aunt Googled me? Yeah, she doesn't think you're, whatever. I'm not what? I'm not up to piss in your fucking wasp, fucking fuck you. And I pissed on their building instead on the side, which proved their point. But they wouldn't let me piss. So the thing happened to me, but in a different.
Right.
I was discriminated against.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. It's just a story about how, whatever. How I wasn't able to crap in the firehouse, and I made it home. Thank God.
It sucks. It sucks.
It was a damn close call.
Right. Well, there could be medical implications if you hold your shit too long. You know what I mean?
Well, there could certainly be, wardrobe implications.
Well, I hate to hear that, and I will talk to the fireman at the next meeting.
But live and learn. I mean, now I don't try to get home unless.
Right.
I'll shit in public if I have to, but I'm not going to try to. Where you're like.
But do you think? But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to shit at the local firehouse, right? You should be able to put out the fire in your ass.
Yeah. Well.
As many men have tried to do. I'll tell you what. That pisses me off. And I was pissed off at those fucking twins, and they are very, oh my God, so they're rich. I would go, what are you doing this weekend? They go, we're going to the Hamptons. I go, you know what? I'm your boss. I'm trying to get your life. I'm your boss. I'm trying to get what you have.
Right, yeah.
Fuckers. Lazy.
But if you had the $12 million.
Well, what happened was, here, an example. So the guy says to me at Jet, he goes, you can fuck her if you want for free. That'll be on us, too. I said, get out of here. Yeah, so I said, all right. She came over at the end of my 2-hour shift of saying hi to every jerk-off in Vegas. Selfie, beers all over. Hey, what you got tomorrow night? Who you betting on? You know what I mean? And I wish I was Semitic. And there were no Semitic people there, it didn't seem. And then the chick comes over. The guy must have had, I don't know if he was her pimp or she was afraid of him. But, now with the phones, these hookers, they check their phones. I'm like, they're checking their next dick. Like, I got to get another dick soon. And you see it, nowadays with the smartphone. Like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about how you didn't go to college. I got to get my next cock. So, but she was hot as hell. I went there and I went back to the room right afterwards. I fucked her. Fucking she blew me. Unbelievable blowjob. You ever been with a hooker like that?
Well, not at the high level you're describing. No, I was a woman in Hartford. I remember that for $200, Well, they said she was 25.
Was she one of the Hartford Whalers?
I-
That's not just a hockey team. It's a group of fat hookers.
yeah, she wasn't 25 when she came over.
She wasn't 25. Yeah. Well, I've been at that level too.
But she was there, and you know how it is when
Of course I do.
you know. So you're like, I guess you could tell her to go home, but
We can't.
you know, people usually don't.
You realize you're in their home. I tell you what, I lost my virginity to a hooker.
Yeah, me
And
too. Me too.
If you had really, well, if you had Too Fat to Fish, my first bestseller, you'd know that. But you talk about my version of serendipity. True story. Brazilian chick who lived around the block from me in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and I lost track of her. And I went back after a few years, and I said, her mother said, "You go back home. She go back home." I don't know if that's Brazilian, but she left. And then the guy who worked at the gas station told me they were all drug mules, all those broads and their family. And you know, I was just so sad, I wanted to save her from that life of swallowing pellets of drugs and shitting them out. And I thought to myself, later on when I became a cocaine and heroin addict, I said, wouldn't it be great if I ended up doing cocaine that she had shit out? That would be my version of serendipity. Like, yeah, John Cusack and they meet in the ice skating rink.
Kate Beckinsale.
She somehow knows I'm doing coke that she shit out. Somehow, we'll have to work out that plot in that script point. I don't know how that happened. And she sees me as I'm doing it, and she cries, and then it ends with me punching her in the face. That's because that's how it really ended. I punched her mother in the face. Cut that out, Dan.
I mean, that could be a rom-com where maybe you
A rom-com.
I could see like you look in the toilet and you see,
Well, now, how do I
and then
get
you
there?
know in other words, you've lost her. You lost track of her,
Right.
and then you're doing coke, and you know that it's her coke. You smell her asshole in the.
Is that it? That's
I don't
it.
know, and you're like, oh my
That's
god.
it. Her ass has a specific scent.
And then you're like, oh my.
You just figured out how to fix the script.
And then you know that and then you look up and she's there
That's her ass.
at the end of. You look
That's
up.
it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
No, like the movie begins with me eating.
but there's got to be a scene where you run to the airport because they always have those scenes.
Right. Well, we're going to be unconventional.
Or maybe
They
you're
don't
on the
always have
plane.
this- they
You're
only
on the
have-
plane.
Yeah.
You're on the plane. You're in the bathroom. You see her coke in the. You see a pellet in the toilet, and you're like, "Oh my god, she's on the plane."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But how do I know what she shitted out?
Well,
I know there's a drug mule on the plane because I see a balloon of coke in the airplane.
yeah, maybe.
But how do I know it's her ass? I
Well,
like
they
it better
just
where at
descend.
the beginning of the movie, it starts with me eating out a hooker's ass, and that's not conventional. And we stay on that.
That's not how the Wolf
it's
of
like
Wall
a-
Street kind of started.
Yeah, right. But exactly. But we're gonna do it the blue collar version, where it's like 20 minutes, like the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, just me doing nothing. There's a bunch of angles. There's gonna be a lot of coverage with cameras and second unit type stuff, and I'm eating out her ass from every angle. And she has a special scent that only I know, and I like that's perfect. Perfect. I get blow. I haven't seen her in 10 years. And I do it, and I go, that's fucking, what's her name? That's Maria's ass.
Yeah. I don't know. You know.
And I'm thinking maybe I see her shit pelts about right now. We'll work on it. We gotta punch it up. So I fucked this hooker. And
is the
this
young-
is the one that gave me the shit about leaving science.
Young Michelle Pfeiffer.
Young Michelle Pfeiffer, absolutely. And like such an aloof, all of them. They're such terrible human beings. Like any emotion's been ripped out of them, like surgically by Mengele, ripped out of their fucking guts. Any true love, or compassion, or a feeling, human emotion. And I'm walking around. I had my socks on, and she goes off. That's one of the goofiest things I've ever. They're goofing on me because I'm not fashionable. I had white socks on, and really made me feel self-conscious about it. Every horse since I take my socks off, even if it's just a boat job, I take my socks off. And I really got mad at her.
So that night I got with 20 grand, 140,000 total. 60 for each stand-up show, and 20 for the fucking thing at Jet. All right, then. On the plane ride home, Monday morning after the Super Bowl, I'm doing the math. I was down $5,000 for the weekend. I lost and spent whatever, $145,000. That's why celebrity net worth is inaccurate. It's what I should have. When I think about it, it's kind of what I should have. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know. I read Colin Quinn it said like $6 million or something. And I was like, no, it can't be because he moved out of his not that great apartment to save money. I mean, maybe. Look, I don't know. I mean, it just the people.
I'll explain to you what happened.
The people that I know, it doesn't make any sense what the celebrity net worth says.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of it doesn't. But what happens is a lot of what you don't realize is a jean company came to me in Italy and said, just to put Artie Lang on the back of their jeans, $2 million. Mm-hmm. That's a lie. All right. But 30 million. That's where you don't see how Brad. That's how Brad Pitt makes money. A business manager told me that once. Brad, but you don't even know about these deals, the foreign deals. Woody Allen does all like foreign commercials. Right. But no, with me it was grunt work. That's why I hit the mountain. With me it was I overextended myself. I got offered like for about 4 straight years in a row. That's why I don't understand how people run out of money. You know, these guys, these basketball players make $100 million a year. Yeah. They run out of it for about 4 years in a row on Stern at the peak of like my stand-up and the book deal and everything. Each year I made between $3.5 and $4 million as a gross, and I did everything wrong. Vices, broads, everything, booze, gambling, and I had endless money. How do you lose all that money? I never ran out of money. And $3 and $4 million, it's chump change. Howard, I'm working 2 feet from a guy that's not even tip money for him, But for me, growing up, I grew up when you're clearly a rich kid, and Dan is as well.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well, you probably grew up wealthy. Well, what's your own?
No, I to this day, I don't know whether we were poor or my father was just cheap.
Well, I could go with
we
stereotype here.
Because we had less than most of the kids in the neighborhood. I mean,
where'd you grow up?
My father bought me a used bike, I remember, that was made of parts from different bikes. And so it was like...
This is a rom-com.
People would ask me, what kind of bike do you have? And I'd say, well, the frame is a Raleigh. And
you're doing material.
No, this is not material. I'm telling you. No, I didn't. This is not material. But this was true.
No, it's very funny.
It was a bike made of different parts. There was no clear brand name.
When I say, is it insulting to say, I've seen your act and this should be material?
Yeah. And but then he paid for my college,
Right, but so a couple of Wharton and Fordham.
Yeah, so I guess he was just saving up all those years.
Did he buy you a car?
On bike.
Did he buy a car?
No, we didn't buy him a car, but I used my father had every bad car Detroit ever made.
Wait a minute. Wait, let me. But what did your father do for a living?
He wrote. He worked for various companies writing technical publications.
Oh, so that's not a lot of money. I thought you were going to say lawyer, doctor, typical Jew shit.
All right. Well.
I'm kidding. Come on. No, you're very. And where'd you grow up?
Stamford, Connecticut.
But that doesn't. That's a creative guy. Clearly, a bright guy does that. But that doesn't scream a lot of money to me. That job, right? I mean, am I wrong? He wrote. Well, I gotta piss.
All right. We'll take a short break. So we're putting it on pause.
And again, I'm probably the only talk show host who has to ask this question. We're definitely taping the show. Yes. It's being taped. Okay.
But I said to Dan, no, I'll say it more clearly. Are you political? And not even as a comedian in life. And you mentioned our friend Ted Alexandro, really funny comedian.
Yeah,
and he's very liberal. Right?
Yeah, and he marches and he does
Wall Street.
Wall Street, right? And I think
he's in a documentary. He pops up.
I think for him it's part of it. He's just I think he likes it. Like some people go to the gym and
he's into it. I mean, it's genuine.
No, it is genuine. He genuinely believes it. But I think it's like
some people in showbiz, I think, bullshit about it.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think Ted enjoys it too. I think it's like part of his It's like he
Socialize.
I think so. I would imagine. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a place to meet broads. I'll tell you that. I mean, the Bernie Sanders rallies. Ever go see those? I mean, I never went.
Well, you would imagine the women there are not opposed to, a random encounter with a stranger.
Absolutely. Well, again, but I think I know.
But then
for $200, you get a random encounter.
So,
Yeah. So
Could
are
we
you
go-
political? Even in your act?
Oh no, my act's not political at all. No, my act is all. My act. Well, you've seen.
I know. I've said, but
It's not political. I don't. Can you be too political? I mean, without offending half the audience.
It is. Well, nowadays it's ridiculous. I mean, I like making jokes about everything in politics now. But when you make joke about a certain, they think you're pro, that person because you're making fun of the other person. I'm like, no, it's just funny. I'm a comedian, Like I would probably lean if you gauged me somehow. There's some sort of meter that gauged your politics. I would probably come out a little to the right. I would think. I don't know. Donald Trump's kids, every time they speak, we goof on them all the time. And people on Twitter go, "Oh, what are you, anti-Trump?" I'm like, no, I'm just a comedian. It's funny.
Well, it depends.
And Hillary Clinton is, lost her mind.
But Ted's not political either on stage.
Right.
We're talking about.
But in real life, do you shove your politics down people's throats?
Not at all. No, Ron. Maybe that's not a brag because maybe you should if you really believe in something. I don't have it bad enough.
Do you believe in anything?
No, I don't have it. 'Cause my life's not bad enough to believe in.
You
shit.
seem very shallow.
You know what I mean?
You seem like a very intelligent, shallow person.
I think if you're really affected by shit,
Are
if
you?
you're a black guy living in a neighborhood where you're being harassed by the cops,
Okay.
that you might be pissed off about those sorts of issues.
Yeah, but what if you're a black guy who deserves to be harassed by the cops?
Well,
A
depends.
lot of those too, Mr. Wonderful.
The point being is
I'll say this about
Yeah,
Dan.
whatever.
He's very. Here's where you're political.
but you're not very political.
No, I just like I goofing on anything. You can't marry yourself to anything. That's why if you're a comic, because you can't say, oh, I can't goof on Trump's kids because I'm all right wing, or I can't goof on the fact that Hillary Clinton yells like Gilbert Gottfried telling the aristocrats joke. Because I'm all left wing. Because you're married to politics, especially in showbiz. You want to piss off George Clooney, and you have a great joke. And you are more political than I am, more sophisticated than I. You said something that, and you're going to be surprised that you probably think less of me as a person. We were in an audition together, and for the crashing thing, and we were asked to tell stories on the road that were crazy stories. And Dan told a story that I did not relate to.
I don't remember.
Okay, we were doing a club. You're doing a club that I don't know if you want to mention the club, but we've all played, and it's in Kansas City.
Okay.
Okay, and two brothers run the place.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of them picked you up in the car.
Yeah, I remember
Okay,
this.
and this was Dan's crazy story. He said that the guy that picked him up, another white gentleman, both members of the white race, in a car alone. There was no other person in the car, just you and just two white guys in a car, adult white men. And this was Dan's offensive story. He was outraged.
I wasn't outraged.
guy-
I wasn't
the
outraged. I
gu-
thought it was an interesting story.
No, you said you were like, wow, this is well. Oh no, okay, maybe
wasn't
I'm putting,
outraged. I was
maybe I'm putting words in your mouth. I'll
Taken
take
aback.
Okay, you're right.
Taken aback.
The guy used the N-word casually, talking to Dan, and Dan thought that was really surprising because he doesn't know you and how you are and you thought it was surprising that another white guy, in the presence of another white guy who's a stranger, would just immediately say the N-word.
Right. I would think that
Right.
you try to feel him out first. Like, hey, there's that neighborhood.
By doing what?
Just say, hey, that neighborhood's a little dicey. That
A
neighborhood's
little
a little
dicey.
right? Or
Oh, it's a little dicey.
you try to feel out the guy to see how he thinks.
See, that's not where I come from. Another white guy just boom. It's green light. I love using the N-word when black people aren't around because it's like again I don't have a racist bone in my body, but I think it's fun to do something you're not supposed to. I think.
But he did it. He meant like when you say it, I assume you don't mean it.
Well, when you said that, Dan,
He said it and he meant every.
I know. But when you said that, honestly, I made a mental note: never invite Dan to my house for Thanksgiving. But my uncle has a bet on fucking Virginia Tech.
Carnival Cruise just passed by Artie's window.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
That's because I worked hard and made a lot of money.
Well, do you have enough money to
Yes.
you don't have to work again if you don't want to?
Yes.
You do. Well, that's
I
pretty,
mean, if I want to live a certain way, I can't have Dan.
okay.
I'd have to do my own laundry. Or just get the Mexican to do it. I could live a certain way. Well, I have the condo we're currently sitting in. I have paid off.
Okay.
But what do you think this place is worth?
I mean, it's not in the best of shape, but you could,
Talking about me or the place?
the condo.
I mean, it's not the best.
Well, it could be.
That's an insult to my manservant Dan.
Wait, there was water damage here for 6 months. I got to tear down the wall.
Yeah, we're like Flint, Michigan.
Okay. What do I think? It's got to be this 2-bedroom.
2-bedroom, 2 full bath. Got washer dryer unit.
$1.5 million. I don't know.
Wow. $1.5 million.
What is it? Is it more or
Shut
less?
the shades. It's $80,000. Is that what you're saying? I know. I have honestly for people who don't know me, which is quite frankly, you don't watch Entertainment Tonight.
I don't know. Yeah.
I have. In other words, here's what Dan's trying to say. It is not. It's these buildings were flimsy built. A bunch of mob guys, after 100 fucking years of having factories along this waterline, looked over and said, "Hey, this is a great view of New York," and changed. This was where we're sitting. Was Maxwell House Coffee, legendary sort of iconic place from the West Side Highway in New York that we're looking at right now. You could see the coffee cup, which is still in the Hoboken Museum. It was a landmark, and there was a Hudson Lipton tea. Tootsie Roll. They all had factories along here, and the docks along on the waterfront, where Brando plays a longshoreman was shot here. This was famous for that too. All industry, and Hoboken was 1 square mile, and all the people that worked in those factories and longshoremen lived here and their kids, and it was a dangerous fucking place. Up until I went to high school, I graduated high school in 1985. I grew up 4 miles from here. Where we're sitting right now is just a place to go get stabbed and killed, and ironically enough, I did stab myself here. But that was self-inflicted. And the people were just tough motherfuckers. And this was worthless because it was a bad neighborhood. And then these mob guys all took a bunch of stuff that fell off a truck and built these buildings which could blow away in the wind. But look, this is 2000 this place was built. There's no central air conditioning. You know why? Because these window units fell off a truck. And, they were bought illegally. And now I can't properly keep Dan cooled. It's terrible. And inspectors say you're supposed to have a stud, which means a piece of wood every 16 inches, so you could put wall units in. I guarantee this for this wall is what is it, 20 feet? There's one stud in there that you can knock to shit. They just cut corners, and people's hands were out. Inspectors, but they had the view. That's why, because they had the view. I have a terrace, and I could argue that this is the best view of New York City on the planet Earth. Right? You can
It may well be. Yeah.
You can make that argument, and that's why it's a lot. And I always thought, I bought this for $600,000 in 2001, and all the yuppie fucks that moved here from Indiana to work on Wall Street with their fucking uptight wives, olive oil hair, and Guinea Chun. Johnny Fontaine doesn't get that picture. They gave me looks like, oh, you're the idiot. You're the idiot Guinea. You're the dumb wop. The local. You're the local Dago. You're the new money. You got ripped off. $600,000. Ha ha! Naturman says 1.5 easy. All right? And if I ever get one of these air conditioners to work, we're looking at 1.7. No, and a lot of these yuppies too. They all want Artie's view, don't they? They buy next door. They buy. Oh, hey Artie, Artie, how are you? It's Ed Abernathy. I work at Goldman Sachs. We moved here from Michigan. Yeah, we were wondering if we could give you a price on your house because we like the view. I'm like, oh yeah, I have the price right here. Here it is. Fuck off. You and your fucking annoying kids, all their annoying wasp kids. They look down.
Now you're kidding around. You don't really have this kind of contempt for the wasps.
I do.
Do you really?
I do. And you know what? And I know you do.
No,
but you're being very political.
No, not at all.
And because they look down on you more than me.
Well, they might, but I never. Well, they might well.
They do.
I never really had any dealings with them.
Oh,
they all lived in Darien.
They tell me anti-Semitic jokes, and you know what? I laugh, but we're not around.
Well,
I want to make neighbors happy.
But they were all in Darien and Greenwich. I was in Stamford with the Italians and the Irish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wasn't with the Wasps in Darien. He goes, I don't really have any dealings with them. Maybe they are that bad, and I just don't know.
So you're saying you said the Irish are very distracted. You said, you know how you said, you ever see Blazing Saddles? Where Don Holmes at the end of the movie goes, all right, we'll give some land to the niggers and the chinks, but we don't want the Irish. When Mel Brooks was edgy. No, these people were. I'm not kidding. They were very condescending to me, a lot of people in this building. They were. And, you know, I was the scumbag. I was, you know what I was? I was Ginger to their Thurston Howell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? New money. Show business money. Oh, dear. Scumbag. And then I have some black friends over that I went to high school with for 4th of July. And when one of my neighbors gave my friend Mike, the black kid, their coat, shit went down.
Mm-hmm.
Shit went down. He didn't hang up the coat. Instead, he did something else with it. True story. And their kids boss me around. I think they tell their kids that I work for them, just to fuck around. They're little stupid kids. There was a big thing. All the kids. There's still one area that's projects in Hoboken, all the way back, and they come up here and they steal the rich kids' bikes. So they had a big fucking community meeting with the people who run the building, and I never go to these things. They begged me to go because they said, "All right, we think you'd like to make a speech at the high school because of your what you say." I speak the blue collar language, and I'm a celebrity, and maybe I talk about the problem. I got up and I said, "Guys, listen. If I see one of your kids crying because a fucking kid from the ghetto is stealing his bike, I'm going to walk over there and help the kid take your kid's bike. I'm going to hold your kid down while the African-American child rides away and gets a good enough head start that the extra bone that's in his ankle,
Oh, jeez.
as Jimmy the Greek said, will kick in, and there's no way your white child will catch him." That's what I said in the meeting. You're very offended. You're very offended by racial stuff.
No,
because you said you're lying. You said you were really like startled at the.
Well,
end
no. I was startled that anybody would have the temerity to just use that word without at least feeling me out first.
I do it all the
and
time.
asking me, like, some questions to make sure I was on.
I do it all the time. As a matter of fact, I text it so much that if I gave you my phone and you tried to spell out good night, it would probably say finish good nigger.
Oh, God.
When you hit the G. And that would be very disconcerting. Like if you have a black friend that said, "Listen, you're at my house. Could you just close the door and make sure it's locked?" "Okay, I will." "Good nigger." That would be terrible. See, now you're afraid to laugh. I know. Believe me, you want us to cut this out? You laughing?
No.
Because we were gonna edit in you laughing.
You could just edit in a laugh.
I could say, "Good nigger." That's the funniest you've ever been. Also, I noticed you don't laugh a lot. You don't give it up for. You're not a laugher. As a matter of fact, I don't understand
give
when
it
you
up a lot.
comedically. You don't.
But I have. Yeah.
I say something funny. Like, if I say something I think is funny, and wherever Dan Naturman will laugh, I look over and you have a puzzled look on your face.
Well, I laugh a lot at what you say.
You do?
Yeah. I'm not a guffaw.
You didn't give it
It's
up.
not a guffaw.
I think Good Nigger
It's not a
was
guffaw.
worth more.
Yeah, it probably was. Probably.
In certain circles. No, is
I
that
think it
true?
was,
Well, do you have any? Are you a fan of any of our peers? Who makes you laugh?
Tracy Morgan?
I know.
Yeah, he does.
Of course, he makes everybody laugh. He's one of the funniest people on the planet.
He once said to me, "I like making you laugh. You intellectual."
That's great. Well, I think that about you too.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you do. Tracy is funny in every. He's very generous. According to Artie Foucault, he pays $20 million to open for him.
No, he doesn't. Oh, yeah. All right. All right.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I did get it. It took me
a little slow in the uptake.
Yeah, I heard it was more than 20, but
Really? For Artie, first of all, Artie Foucault has 4 red suits and an Escalade to match each one.
That's why I didn't laugh immediately, because I heard more than 20. So the 20.
Now, do you think, as far as stereotypes are concerned, I love Artie Foucault. God bless. And when I first saw Artie alive after that van accident, I got to tell you, I was choked up. I hugged him, and I was like, wow, this is great. I hugged him just long enough for him to feel up my white girlfriend's pussy. No, I think, but don't you feel, as much as we love Artie, and it's so great that he's still here,
and doing his thing. He's a very much a live kid. It would have been so hard to lose him. It really would have. It would be hard not to see him anymore at the Comedy Cellar. The way, it would be hard to not to have, say, like Aziz there writing in the corner. Aziz shows us all up, and he does. The work ethic he has, he gets to the Comedy Cellar early and for 2 hours writes in the corner. And then he bumps Nick Griffin to run his O2 Arena set. Nothing? But Artie, do you feel Artie Fuqua got that money and reacted in a very stereotypical way of a certain race with the money? With the suits and the Escalades. He has 4 red Escalades and 4 red suits.
I didn't know he had 4 red Escalades.
He does. Because I tipped those fucking guys that are the same race as him. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I put those fucking guys at the garage around the block from the cellar through. Their kids are fucking in Fordham Law and Wharton because of me right now. Rubbing elbows with the Naturmans.
There's no more Naturmans. My sisters are married, and
the Naturmans, and he bumped. I get bumped.
The name is dying out with. I'm taking it with me.
Well, you've done a lot with it.
Yeah.
I get bumped for his Escalade, and my Range Rover gets bumped. And I think I've been there longer. I've been tipping longer, and I guarantee he doesn't tip. I think it's a racial thing. Your thoughts?
It could be. It's much like the firemen that didn't want me in there.
No, but that's not racial.
Oh,
Do you think that's racial? You think that's anti-Semitic, don't you?
No, I don't think it was anti-Semitic. I think it was. I just think because they didn't. They looked at me. They didn't see somebody that they could relate to.
They look at you and you think, do their taxes.
I don't know. They just. I'm not. Maybe. Maybe
I think there's an insult.
Maybe they don't
there.
let anybody crap in their firehouse.
I've crapped in it several times.
Yeah, but they know you from
Matter
Howard
of fact,
Stern.
me and Bob Kelly crap next to each other.
But I would just imagine.
For Artie Fuqua, no.
I took it that way, but it could be they don't let people other than celebrities.
I think Artie Fuqua's allowed in there because they mistake his car for a fire engine. I said, who knew the luckiest guy in the world was a guy who happened to open up a dealership that sold nothing but red Escalades next to Artie Fuqua's house. That guy's clean it up. Now, what about Trump? Are you very vocal about Trump? I mean, to me, he's a beach ball coming in. These comedians they go an hour on Trump. All right, whatever. It's easy. It's easy. Your thoughts?
My thoughts on Trump?
Yeah.
Or my thoughts on... I never answered your question about Artie's Escalades.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, there's some stereotypical... I guess there's some stereotypical...
that was rhetorical. I thought it was a joke.
Okay,
but you have thoughts on it? Do you think a white person reacts like that? Would you react like that with 20 million or 50 million?
No, with the suits. He likes to look his best.
He always looked his best anyway, though.
Yeah, but now his best is even better.
Right.
Boy, he's upped his best.
What a positive thing to say. Now, Artie Fuqua's best is even better.
Well, yeah. So,
Dan Naturman.
All right.
No, I like that. I mean, you feel that. So again,
well,
you're
the black guys
very diplomatic.
The black guys in our business always dress better than the white guys. Typically.
Whoa! Now you sound like Ty Cobb.
Well, they typically do.
What do you mean they dress better?
I think they pay more attention to the way they're dressed.
That doesn't mean it's better.
Well, more elegant, with more elegance. Now,
boy, that is the most racist thing I've ever heard. Elegance. Okay, we know what that's a fucking euphemism for. Elegance. Shiny. They're more shiny.
Well, whatever it is.
They always dress shinier. I understand what you're saying. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Now, what about Trump? Are you one of these comics who, again, it's so easy to goof on. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, and people get applause breaks for.
I don't know.
Am I voting for Hillary Clinton? Well, I'm not voting for a racist, Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel, I thought it was the greatest thing I ever posted on Twitter. He came out. Remember that lion got shot? I forgot his name, but
that
in
lion?
Africa.
Oh, I know. They made a big deal about it.
He made a fucking big deal about it.
He did. He was crying.
So then I posted on Facebook. I thought it was going to go viral. I thought, this is my career right now. I posted, here's another video of Jimmy Kimmel expressing his love of animals, and it was him with a barbecue guy. And he invited some barbecue guy on the show.
That's great.
And they were cooking it up,
I know what that didn't go.
And I didn't get a single retweet or it was on Facebook.
Did you tweet it to me?
I tweeted it and I Facebooked.
Did you hashtag me?
No.
Because I would have retweeted it.
And
I'll tell you why I didn't. It's brilliant, but you and Jimmy are not nearly famous enough to have that routine.
to have what?
To have people care about it.
I guess. Well,
You know, that line thing was a terrible. All these people are.
no. I feel bad for the line, but the way Jimmy was going on and on and on.
For 50, I paid 50 grand. They
And
can shoot
just
whatever the fuck
literally
he
a
wants.
week
50 grand, they
before-
can shoot my cousin.
Well, I just thought it was literally a week before he's grilling steaks up there.
I know. Well, I agree with you. I mean, you're saying there's hypocrisy in show business.
Yeah, is that what I'm saying?
I think that's what your message is. Quite frankly, it's an old.
So I said to myself, this is where, finally, after
You're gonna
22
win.
years, the last
no,
comic
okay.
standing didn't do it. Letterman didn't
We'll
do
get
it.
into that.
But the fucking steak Facebook tweet is gonna launch me into the strategy, because that's all you need is one thing that goes viral. Doesn't matter what the
I'll
fuck
tell you how
it
you
is.
get attention on Twitter. You do what I did. You say you want to fuck a black chick in a Benjamin Franklin outfit. That's what I did. Remember that happened? You know what it lost me? It lost me a spot on the great nerd show. What's it called then? The Midnight.
Midnight.
With Chris Hardwick. 2 hours before the car's about to fucking pick me up. They say you're not going. It was for the New York Comedy Festival. It was Jim Norton, Kurt Metzger, myself. I was so excited.
Was it Ben Franklin or was it Jefferson?
I said, I see you follow me. No, I said that.
Well, Jefferson makes more sense because
It's Jefferson. I was telling him I thought Ben Franklin flowed out better for the line, but I said, and this did go viral. That you know the thing. I did a smoking hot chick on ESPN on a show called First Take, smoking hot black chick. And I don't say African American because I've said this before. It doesn't make any sense. A white person could be African fucking American. And I would say all this time. I would say that people would call me up saying I'm racist because I don't say. I'd say, ask me a question. Ask me who my favorite African American actress is. Oh yeah, Charlize Theron.
you know there was an episode of the Cosby Show years ago
Well, we all know how that turned out.
where I think it was either Rudy or the other
We'll
one.
call it the last day of Janice Dickinson's sanity.
Rudy
Rudy,
or the other little, what was the other black little girl? Raven Simone. So
they
one
were
of
all
the
black, weren't they?
well, no, but the little one. So
Actually, they're very light skinned.
so there was an episode where she asked Bill Cosby if God was white or African American.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember thinking, but this is the word African American has been carried to its absolute absurd extreme
right.
because God may or may not have
Thank you.
black skin. He's certainly not from Africa. He's certainly not an American
He
citizen.
made Africa. He's certainly not an American.
He's not even.
That's the Naturman as finest.
Well, so it's like, no, God is not African or American. He may be black.
Exactly.
Although,
He created Africa and America.
Exactly,
Right? He
yeah.
created it.
Well, we're Gondwana
if the
land at the
book
time.
is true, is accurate,
Yeah.
he created those things. Exactly.
So this is why the word African American, is. How about black is a much more appropriate because it covers all cases of.
Well, I remember the episode of The Cosby Show where Raven Simone went up to him and said, Mr. Cosby, why is Lisa Bonet's ass bleeding?
I don't think that ever made it on the air.
I think I was at a rehearsal. They were riffing. They were improvising.
That's
What do
another
you
thing
think
I
about the Cosby thing?
tweeted.
What about this? I thought this would go viral. I tweeted a picture of Bill Cosby with that crazy eye. You know, he's got the crazy eye now?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm no doctor, but I think I know how you got that crazy eye. When you're raping a chick in your dressing room, you have to keep one eye on the door.
That's a good one.
In case Tempest Blenzo wants a emergency script meeting. And, that went nuts, actually. It did. And then I said it on TMZ. We could even fire that up for Dan. On TMZ, destroyed the whole fucking room. Those kids. They're very nice to me. The kids.
Well,
They went nuts. They love best joke they said of the year. Of course, I was competing against their jokes, but one eye on the door.
One eye on the door.
And
Yeah.
I know you like that, but you didn't laugh. You're very tough.
No, it was good. Yeah.
No, it was good. I'm laughing at your stuff.
I know you're much more generous. This is one of the reasons why you're more successful than me. And there's numerous reasons.
No, that's not.
There's numerous reasons.
First of all, honestly, you're so nice to me. I'm very lucky. I'm a very lucky. I snorted glass in February. We'll get into this. I feel like I can't keep this from Dan. Dan's a friend, and I'm blowing my nose constantly. I'm bleeding.
Well, Dave Jessica told me that it was because you had an allergy.
Well, no, I gave that bullshit for a while.
Oh, well, you're allergic to shards of glass. And,
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a little too soon to be making jokes. No, what happened was, I fell off the wagon. There was this really hot chick in Boston that I used to bang, and God, I've known her 15 years. She's got like a Southie accent, as you would call it, a filthy Irish girl. And she, big, real tits. Yeah, I made a mistake once, and she was such a great person. We were both drunk, and I Bronskied her. I gave her a motorboat, and I had a lit cigarette, and I burned her tits in the middle of her tits. And any other chick would have pressed charges. But I felt she was aggressive and leaned forward. Did you ever Bronski a chick like motorboat?
Bronski?
Like we call it a Bronski. I thought that was a universal thing. Apparently not. Because I improvise.
It may be universal. There's a lot of universal things I don't know.
Motorboat, though.
Apparently it's universal to, like, have a girlfriend.
Motorboat?
Motorboat, yeah.
Put your face up to the tip?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever Bronskied.
Well, that's the same
I've neither
thing.
Bromskied nor Plumpkin, who...
Blumpkin.
Plumpkin?
They're
both Slavic names.
I never got that from a hooker, but once from my priest. Oh. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Can I get a Blumpkin? No, I did that to this girl, this Irish girl. She was from Boston, and I was put my face between her tits, and I was so fucked up on oxycodone.
Oxycodone?
Oxycodone, 80 milligrams. I forgot I had a lit cigarette, and I went like this. She went, ah! Thank God she was on the oxycodone. She was already on painkillers. Which I think is just being prepared, because if you get pain, you already have painkillers in you, so you don't feel it. But she was in my life, for a while, 15 years ago, and she was, like I said, 22 at the time, and I was whatever. I guess I was 35 or something. Fuck, Jesus Christ, my life's going by. I'm 48 years old. So she shows up in December at a gig in Boston. I hadn't seen her in 10 years. And she has 2 kids now. And she's getting a divorce, and she looks still amazing. Amazing. Finds my hotel, late at night, gets in touch with me. And I go, oh my God, and I was weak. I had sex with her, and she had cocaine. I hadn't done cocaine in a long time. But that started off like a 2-week little run where I saw her on and off. And she got a room in the Westchester area, and I would go see her sometimes after the Comedy Cellar. And she was like, living. I was sort of paying for this room because she was away from her abusive husband, and was a big fan of mine. And I had like a steady place to go and get laid, but she had drugs. And right before a gig in Pittsburgh, I had 3 sold out shows. I snort what I thought was just heroin, and she cut it up with the same thing she was hitting on the same area where she was cutting. The snorting oxycodone, you got to crush it, She crushed it with a salt shaker made of glass. And some of the glass popped off. Unbeknownst to her, why would she know? She's got 4,000 milligrams of fucking Percocet in her. While she's fucking filling out her fucking kid's parent-teacher conference card. I filled it out. I gave the kid a glowing review. And, a little shards of glass in there. And I go right up, bam. Ain't no painkillers for that, baby. I felt like I snorted a porcupine. Holy shit. And it burned. Oh, that fucking shit Mexican brown she used to get. You know what I'm talking about.
Mexican brown?
Mexican brown powder of heroin. And it wasn't bad, but it was kind of street stuff. I mean, but I had developed a tolerance years before. I hadn't done it in a long time. What the fuck? I was clean. I was all right. And, the devil shows up, a hot chick with cocaina, as Pablo Escobar used to say. Cocaina. And we partied, and I wanted to strangle her. Dan, I wanted to fucking strangle her. My nose is just... And I got this Apatow thing coming up. I go to do the gig in Pittsburgh. I shower. I put warm water. I put these gauze bandages. It stops bleeding. I'm like, all right, fine. It should be okay. I'm going to say 4 minutes into an hour set on stage in Pittsburgh, sold out show. My nose starts to bleed like a Brian De Palma movie. Oh, my God. 3 women in the front row, horrified, gasped. Literally the definition of a gasp. This hadn't happened to me publicly in since about 1992. My sister got me a job waitering at a restaurant in Hoboken. All Yuppies went to again. The Yuppies were just moving in. I was telling them their specials. And the woman looked up and she saw my nose bleeding and she screamed. Screamed! And that was a combination of coke, and the night before I took a swing at a cop and he stop signed me. And the two cops held me by my ears, and the one guy just went right into his knee. Bam! My nose exploded. You wonder why I have 2 bestsellers. So, yeah, so that happened. So now I got to get an operation.
And when do you have to start filming for the Apatow show?
I did already.
But it's so
You even worked it into the show.
you worked it into the plot.
It's a character.
Okay.
I'm getting another fee for it. Yeah. And again, Judd is so funny. Judd is he's such a winner in life. He's so efficient. And he looks at me, and he's looking at his BlackBerry, probably about 3 other projects, and buying up yen. Make sure his kids are in private school. The private jet is on time. Whatever the fuck he's doing, and he looks up, and then he's in Artie Lang's world for about 2 seconds.
But I get the feeling Judd Apatow with all his pardon.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I get the feeling Judd Apatow has great admiration for you.
Well, he respects that. I think he puts us. I think he does for you.
I think
as well.
he wishes
he
he threw me I guess
I
a
think
little
he
role.
Well, yeah, he thinks we're all funny. He thinks we're funny people. I think he thinks we all have that in common, which is nice.
And I think he would like to have. I think in some way he might like to have good stories like that. because
I think, and then he wakes up and he sees his lovely family.
Maybe so.
In the mansion and the.
I don't
well,
know.
no, I hear what you're saying.
But everybody wants to be a little bit bad.
There is a price to pay.
Everybody wants to be the guy with the cool story.
Right.
I was talking to Ray Romano, and he was like,
"What? Really? What do you want to do?"
He was part of it. He was like complaining that people think he's like a goody two shoes.
Well, is he not?
Yeah, but he
he wants that.
I think everybody wants to be a little bit Artie Lang.
Did Ray actually say that? Did he say that?
He didn't say your name, but I think that everybody wants to have. Everybody wants a little bit to be the guy that listen to this story.
Well, yeah, but I guess. But what if the price is you're me though?
It would be
What if the price is you have to get an operation because you snorted a salt shaker?
Well, there's a happy medium. You can have some good stories. But
well, I did make Ray laugh though. I said, Ray, you know what I want to do? I said, there's everyone loves Raymond. There's everyone hates Chris. I want to do a show called I'm on the Fence about Artie Lang. The jury's out.
Yeah.
Did I tell you this before?
No, I like it.
You reacted like as if you'd heard it 50 times. And by that I mean you sat there like an oil painting. Dan's laughing.
Dan is guffawing.
Well, Dan's trying to keep his job.
I've never heard that before.
You apparently don't care if you're asked back on the podcast.
No, I very much.
By the way, open invite. I love Dan didn't invite himself here. But
No,
I invited you.
I said if you want me to do their podcast,
I think we have a great rapport.
I said
We do.
I said
you said that, right? We were in front of the
And you
comedy
said, well,
zone.
how about Monday?
We were in front of the and I thought you'd say no.
You were being polite. All right.
Well, yeah, it was the 4th of July. I said, well, I'll just blow him up by going, And he goes, yeah. I'm kidding, though. I love you.
I'm very sensitive.
You have fun. This is a lot of fun. I love being with a funny person and hanging out and talking like this. This is what I live for. This is all I do. I don't have any hobbies. I don't ski. This is what I like doing. And I'm making money doing this right now. It just turned into a little business. It's just great. We give quite frankly, I thought that more people would. We do like average of 2 hours, about 3 or 4 times a week. That is way more than 99% of people do.
You give your fans. You're generous with your fans.
But it's me and you sort of having sort of witty banter, if you will. This is something. It's not a war. This is something we do anyway. We did this in front of the Comedy Cellar the other night. Now I just have mics. That's all. And I didn't have to leave the house.
Some people though, you get them in front of a mic and it's not the same person.
Well, do you feel we're?
I'm trying.
Me and you. I think when we speak, we're sort of this way. We don't.
Yeah, I think we're getting more or less what you'd get anyway. But there's some people I know, like, and I do a podcast at the Comedy Cellar on Ridecast.com.
And I've been on that, and that was fun. I love it.
And also, I'm a little more uptight on that podcast because it's mine, or I'm co-host, and
Well, what is the order of that? You do it with Noam.
I do it with Noam. Noam is originally the owner. Yeah,
he's the owner of the Comedy Cellar. I love Noam a lot. He's always very nice to me. I like Noam a lot.
He's a huge fan. He's another guy with a nice house and the kids and the this and the that. But It's not rock and roll. But
But why would you? Why would you be rock and roll? Look, he's an accomplished guitar player, and he owns the joint. And you know what? One night he could play guitar. He got a couple other guys, and I think that's his gig. Do you think that's his outlet? He plays.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, right. That's his Altamont.
sure.
Yeah, but Noam is a guy who did his father own the place, Manny, who was to all of us comics, from our generation. I got a chance to talk to Manny maybe 5 or 6 times, and God, I love that guy. I really had a unique guy, a New York Jewish guy who was very right wing with his politics, and had very, very amusing stories and sort of opinions based on that were funny about people. And one of his best stories, he also owns Cafe Wa, which is as legendary as they come. And he was there supposedly the night that Bob Dylan got to Greenwich Village, and Bob Dylan auditioned for him, and supposedly Manny said, "You're boring. You should go back home."
Well, something I don't know.
Is that true?
He was like, I don't think he said it to Bob Dylan. I think he said to like other people,
okay.
like, I don't see it.
So Bob Dylan went around, instead of going home, Bob Dylan went around the block to a place called the Gaslight and made his legend there. Mm-hmm. And Manny was left with myself, Dan, and Bob Kelly. Now, imagine Cafe Wa in 1961. So he saw all the 60s in that area. That area, the Comedy Cellar, where we stand every night, we see each other outside goofing around like the way we talk. Dan is one of the guys, my favorite guys to see there, because you're gonna have a fun conversation.
Because I'm an intellectual.
Yeah, that's that.
Like
And
Tracy
yo, you an intellectual. Art is a show business. You the legend. Yeah. Is this black voice, Avenger? Do you want to listen to liberals who thinks that Tracy doesn't talk like that? Like he talks like Mario
Well, wasn't
Cuomo?
I was the one that said that he told me, you intellectual.
Right. Well, you didn't really go that far with it. You're like, not like I am. I'm being more accurate with it. You were like sort of, you hedged your bet, so you didn't want to sound like a step and fetch it, Amos. You're very safe.
Not as talented as
You're
you
very safe.
in imitation.
No. I think you do a great black guy. And you don't do it in front of people because you're afraid of, I don't know, consequences, like Heidi Klum coming down on you. Again, Dan is part of one of the reasons the world is ending in comedy. Dan told an amazing joke, it's a great joke, smart joke, and the word German's in it. He mentioned a race of people in the joke because it's necessary to make it funny.
Well, normally I say Mexican.
Right, and that's even better.
Because Mexican is associated with racism.
Well, yeah, that's true. When a white guy says Mexican, people do think
even if he's just saying, hey, there's a Mexican family living next door to me.
Go to a Mexican restaurant. What does that mean?
That's the only context you can say Mexican and people don't look at you funny.
Yeah, but the way I say it,
All right.
No, you're right.
But if I simply say, hey, there's this Mexican family, the word Mexican sounds
exactly.
It's like the word Jew. The word Jew is also kind of a slur. So
I use it as a verb.
You got to say Jewish person. Yeah.
I use it as a verb.
Well, but from you, it's
that's original.
We can accept it.
No, I feel that's condescending. Is that like? Well, Artie's an idiot, so he should sound like that. He should.
No, but because we know you don't mean it, or if you do.
I get what you're saying. I'm charming.
I think there's something. The sound's not working.
Wait a minute.
Wait. In my headset.
You don't hear us laughing?
No, the sound is not.
Oh, is it not? Can you not? You cannot hear me in your headset?
I not in the headset. No.
Wow, I can hear you fine. Wait a minute. Did you step on the?
I did something.
Let me see. Did you step?
Now it's back.
Is it back? Right.
It's back.
You just chewed it up. Oh, in that case, you're getting it up.
All right.
You're getting it up because that's hard work. If you talk somebody down from a price of a car, that's chewing them down. Do you get offended when people say that?
Nobody ever says that.
Well, let's move on. Again, you're not coming to Thanksgiving. I think that when I see Dan, like I was trying to say before, he's a guy you like seeing at the comedy because I know we're going to talk like this. We're going to make each other laugh or try to, and that's what's fun about being a comic. You get to go to work with people like that, even if they're
the
different.
sound is weird. It's cutting.
My God, I mean, I can't even make a point. Let's cut. Let's. How long have we been talking for?
Hour and 14 minutes.
Hour and 14 minutes. See. Most podcasts are 45 minutes or an hour. It doesn't even feel. We didn't even get into some stuff I wanted to talk about because we're having fun.
Okay, the sound is there.
Oh my God! We'll be back with more sound updates by fucking by Guglielmo Marconi. This is Dan Filato. Bring the show to a screeching halt moment. Brought to you by Budweiser. All right, that's your Budweiser. That's all you need. You're fine with the Twitter and stuff.
Pardon? Yeah, in terms of plugs, yeah. I mean, whatever. I mean, oh, you're going to retweet it anyway, right? So they'll find me.
Sure.
Yeah.
We ready? Dan?
Rolling.
Hey, we're back. I just realized that we did well over an hour with the great Dan Naturman. I got another show coming. The next podcast is going to have Dov Davidoff on. Dov Davidoff, and he's friends with both of us. So we'll keep Dan, and we'll get into more of it with Dov, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I know. I'll stick around.
I feel like you're Bob Hope on the Tonight Show, and you have somewhere to go. But the great Dan Naturman, I got to tell you, buddy, you are. I like you a lot, man, and I like talking to you, and I think you're great, and you got a great head of hair, and you're going to make a beautiful dollar in this business. How do you feel about that?
Well, thank you, Broadway Danny Rose.
If I could isolate what I just said and send it to you.
For those who didn't get the reference.
I don't see you folding balloons at joints. You're going to do colleges, universities. That right or wrong, that could be his best performance as an actor. Woody Allen.
Yeah,
Broadway Danny Rose.
I wasn't my favorite. I mean, it's a great movie. I preferred.
Well, you brought it the fuck up. Yeah, no,
you brought it up when you said you're going to make a beautiful dollar in this business.
Crimes and misdemeanors. All right, I'm sorry. Crimes and Misdemeanors is, I think,
my favorite.
It's his masterpiece. The combination of comedy and drama, it's his masterpiece. I agree with you. But as a performance, as doing a character, because he's a supporting actor, and I'm talking about just him. And Mia Farrow in that as a departure with playing a gun moll in Broadway Danny Rose. Any analogy at all there, or no? Just you gonna
a gun mall. I don't know what you mean by a gun mall.
That's an old 40s term for a gangster lady, a woman.
Okay. Oh, I never heard it before.
You know what? Let's edit this. No, I'm kidding. No, what do you think about his performance?
Yeah, you know what? I have to go rewatch the movie because I never thought about it that way.
This is going terrible.
No, it's a great performance. I think one of his best.
Jesus.
Now I'm just
Jesus.
you.
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, Dan Naturman. You don't have to go to Wharton to understand what you're doing.
Okay.
And it's being insulting. No, I think you're awesome, buddy, and you have a beautiful head of hair.
I do
a cat ate his bird. A star bird.
Well, Pee-wee, you're talking about Pee-wee?
So great.
Pee-wee gave us many a laugh and tear. I do agree.
I don't mean to be didactic or facetious in any way, shape, or form.
There's an old saying. You brought up my hair.
Yeah.
Whether it's beautiful or not, I don't know, but I do have most of it. And
right.
And the old saying, God only gives us to deal with what we can deal with.
Right.
What's the saying? God never gives us more than we can handle.
Yes.
And I think that's why I'm not bald. Because I don't think I can handle it. It sounds like a small thing. Well,
I like
because
that.
this is all I have.
I like that.
And I have a joke about that. That this is, you take away my hair and what,
Well, let me lead you in like Byron Allen.
Okay, all right.
You know what? I was noticing, Dan, that you have a nice head of hair.
Well, but that's not how the joke started. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
No. Well, you want to lead it in. I got to give you.
How do I lead it in?
You say, hey, I heard they're going to cure baldness.
Okay.
In a few years.
Okay, Jesus, all right. That is very different. You ready? Back with Comics Unleashed on Byron Allen. Dan.
Yeah.
I heard they're going to cure baldness.
Well,
any thoughts?
Well, I hope that's not the case because I'm not bald, and I don't want these bald people catching up to me. Like say me. Do you want me to do the whole joke?
Go ahead. Sure.
Like say me and a bald dude like the same chick. I got a full head of hair. He doesn't. That's 1 point for me, right?
That's great.
Now, what if he doesn't suffer from? What if he doesn't suffer from severe mental illness with psychotic episodes? Well, now we're tied at one apiece. And if he's got more than 4 inches down there, he takes the lead.
That's great. Now, Chris Rock, I understand you think there's black people and niggers. The worst lead in ever. No, did I tell you the worst lead? Byron actually said this to John Lovitz. I might have told you this. Here was his lead in. John, I understand you're getting older. Actually, it happened. Dan, what are your plugs? We'll do them in the next show.
Well, plugs. This is all my real hair.
Yes. Look up callback in the dictionary of comedy, and you'll see that as the best example of it.
Okay.
Go ahead. What are your
Are you even allowed to say to Chris Rock, "Hey, I really liked your black people versus niggers"? I mean, would I be? Would that...
No, I don't think. Well, that's what I mean. Context. He brought it up.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to hum? I can hum the words to a Sinatra song on the subway. Can I hum Biggie Smalls' songs? You know, he wrote it. Can I go, nigger? You ain't got to explain shit. You've been robbing motherfuckers as a slave ship. Can I say that? He wrote it. I'm a fan of it. No.
Yeah. Well, I don't
can
know.
say the way you look tonight. Can't do that. I agree with you. You should be able
Well,
to say.
I was a question, because I think it's in it.
Can you repeat that bit like you repeated George Carlin bit in the bar, right?
Can you even retweet the N word?
I
Is
have.
a question that's
you mean
been
like
pondered.
In the context of you liked it,
The concept I like it. This black guy said something. He used the N word, and can I retweet it without? Well, I mean,
you have to
these
call-
are all N word.
Call Sherrod Small. He's the keeper.
These are the protocols of.
I think, but you know what? I
Yeah.
just read that is funny if he was on Comics Unleashed.
No, that's tremendous.
I
Yeah.
understand. You think there's black people, but the difference between black people and niggers, the difference. I understand you like one and you don't like the other.
Did you just come up with that? I thought that was like a bit. I thought it was a bit that you had done on
I just
stage.
came
No,
up
it's
with
very
it.
good.
Just came with Dan. Write that down. But again, here's what's wrong with the millennial audience. If they do even remember the reference, because his, and again, that's the thing. I'm the farthest thing from a racist. I love that. Bring the Pain by Rock, so good, and defined his whole. That's an example of him not playing the game but redefining it. And I think that he did that was his Richard Pryor first thing, a seminal moment. And as a fan of it, in front of millennials, if I quote it, they won't hear anything but the N word and think I'm a racist.
Yeah.
And I'm quoting it because I love it.
Right.
I don't think I could get away with it, but I'll try it on stage. And but at the cellar, if I'm fucking, if I'm in a fight with some of the gang there, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The Keith Robinsons. How is Keith, by the way?
He's doing good. He's doing better.
Good.
Yeah.
I love Keith. I mean, he's such an alive guy, and great comic. Had a bit of a medical thing that, I won't get into the racial implications, but it comes from maybe having one too many Fantas, orange Fantas. Dan, your thoughts?
Well, I don't know much about the latest research on Fanta. And
Are you a big Insane Clown Posse fan? Because they reference it a lot.
Oh, do they? Okay.
It's there no favor. At Dan Naturman?
Yeah, Dan Naturman, but
At Fuck Heidi Klum?
At Dan Naturman.
Yeah.
Heidi Klum.
How many followers you got?
I have it's very sad. It's not very sad. It's about 7,000, which is,
bad.
it's pretty sad.
Do you remember a day?
And Heidi Klum doesn't even, the saddest thing about Heidi Klum with regard to Heidi, did we discuss that?
No, go ahead. What happened? I remember.
No, because she's the one that did, when I did that joke.
America's
on,
Got Talent. Tell the joke. It's
the
such a
joke.
good
The
fucking
joke was how my German friend said, "Why do Americans not learn other languages?" And I said, "Because we don't. Because the same reason people that can see don't learn Braille, and that Braille would be more practical because you might go blind, but you're not going to go German." So
how good is that? And Heidi Klum, she gets mad at him just saying German, and then you do the accent, which is necessary, which is funny. It's a good accent. She probably thinks you're making fun of it, and she doesn't even bother to listen to the rest of the fucking joke. And she said you succeeded in offending everybody in the room. Really? Really? The guy who invented a fucking blind beauty pageant is sitting next to you on the radio. Howard, who's a brilliant guy and made a living out of being offensive, and he just let you hang on the rod, man. You're right, Heidi. I was there when Heidi Klum blew off the Stern Show. Didn't come to an appearance. You know what we did for the next 5 days? Hired a chick who sounded like her and just made the person say the worst, most anti-Semitic things ever. Let idiots in the audience think it was her. Stuff like, all I know is the Jews must have done something pretty bad to get Hitler that mad at them.
wait, you told me your uncle said that.
Well, that's the joke I wrote.
Yeah.
We were writing fake jokes.
Oh, okay.
You
But
know,
I thought you really had an uncle that said
he
that.
did. No, my uncle didn't say. My uncle said about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, it's a Jew broad fights Draculas.
Okay.
No, you know who said that? Kevin McDonald of Kids in the Hall did a guest spot on Mad TV. He said his uncle said that.
Oh, okay.
About all I know is, and I wrote it down for her to say. That was my contribution.
All right. Okay.
But no, there were idiots who thought it was really her, and we let them think it. Okay, and all of a sudden he's buddy Howard's buddy with Heidi, letting her bash you after you tell a great joke. That's a smart, great joke.
All right. Well,
Can't give me
I guess
nothing.
well,
man.
I
you
don't
don't
want
even defend yourself.
Well, I'm not as upset about Howard's,
I know,
turn
but
around
I'm
as
just
you
saying.
are.
No, what I'm doing is I'm saying there's a bunch of things wrong with that moment. That's
Right,
another
okay,
one.
all right, okay. I didn't even perceive it at the time as anger at Howard. I was just sort
It's
of
not
angry.
about Howard. It's about the whole situation.
Yeah.
I'm adding why you should be mad for a million.
Well, I
reasons.
blame myself. I mean, it's again, and
You blame yourself.
I blame
What the
I'm
fuck?
blaming the victim. I shouldn't have
You
gone
are.
to. I shouldn't have.
Oh, sweetie. Oh, that's your point. Now I get your rape analogy.
Yeah,
oh.
no, I was dressed provocatively.
Now I get it.
All right, but that's the next show.
You were
all right?
dressed provocatively. Although you didn't say that yet.
I didn't say that yet.
We're going to leave this in and let people figure out what happened here. Quite frankly, it's no big deal.
No, I don't get it. Look, Heidi hasn't thought of me once since that whole thing. That's
I
the sad part.
guarantee, and she has. You know why? Because I've trolled her on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
She had to see some of it. At Heidi Klum, just my daily defense of Dan Natterman. Honey, cunt. Dan's too classy to say it. He's too classy to say it, you anti-Semitic whore. How's your two fucking mulatto kids? Huh? How's that fucking...
Well, look, the fact that she had kids with a man of another race is between her and God. I don't.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
I don't want to judge.
You disgusting gutter snipe. How dare you do that to your father, Heidi? Mr. Klum. Honey, I understand you got a fiance. He became Mexican there. You are Rex Marshall getting is second only to the Führer. You are dating as a person who? Seal? You're dating Seal? That way Google's a seal. Oh, is this Seal? Oh, you're killing your father, your papa. You're not really dating. I'm going to jump off the building. I jumped off the building. Now I'm dead. You killed your father.
I'll tell you, Hitler has given us so much entertainment over the years.
Was that believable?
Yeah, no,
She comes from a racist. Come on.
Well,
Mr.
could be.
Klum is not fucking sympathetic
Well,
towards the plight of the fucking blacks. Your thoughts?
Well, I think at a minimum, he probably says that he is.
You think so? You think he's a bullshitter?
Yeah, they're all like that. They're
Phony,
like, the Jews, we love them, but we don't know what happened.
C'est very entertaining. C'est tap dance.
Yes, of course, some of them were bleeding the economy. And,
Then they are young. They are very cute. For the little boys and girls.
you're talking about Jews or black?
Blacks.
Oh, okay.
The Jews are not cute at any age. Except for Adam Goldberg.
Well, Adam Goldberg, I think, is only half Jewish.
But that explains it. That explains why he's cute.
If you want to, our next guest, Davidoff, his ex-girlfriend is Adam Goldberg's baby's mother.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true?
That is correct. They might be married.
She's going up in looks, this broad, I'll tell you.
think
Climbing
so?
that social world. I think those are better looking than Adam Goldberg.
Oh, you think so?
I think both me and you are.
Uh,
Do you think Adam Goldberg, do you watch Gaffigan show? Do you think Goldberg plays a convincing comedian?
I actually auditioned for that very role, but that Adam Goldberg is playing. But obviously,
You're an
I
actual
was
comedian.
never going to get that role.
Why?
Because he's a bigger name. I mean, he's not a huge name, but he's a bigger name. And I think.
But why not get a real comic who could bring a street cred to the part? He's saying shit like, I got to go to a corporate with a tell. Shut up. Shut up. I'm kidding. I love the show.
I haven't seen it.
I've been on twice. I've been on twice. It got me benefits. And Jim
Okay.
is a great comedian and actor. I think he's a good actor, man. Right?
I'm not familiar with his work, to be honest with you.
Lie a little bit. I mean, Jesus.
He's one of our finest actors.
What do you think of his?
He's working today.
What do you think of his new special?
I haven't seen that either.
I haven't seen it either. I'm gonna guess the title is Hot Dogs and Mayonnaise.
Yeah, something food related.
Do you think do you think he does himself an injustice by marrying himself to the food, the hot pocket thing?
No, but that's not all that he does.
Exactly. That's my point. He's brilliant.
Oh, okay.
But he marries himself to it because he thinks it makes him money, which clearly he is.
Well, he certainly knows about making money. He knows, I think.
Well, I mean, stop with the bitterness.
He-
Gets Gaffigan. Jesus, where'd that come from?
Well, no, I admire. I don't know. Whatever. He makes
Do
a
you
lot of money. He
admire
has I don't know. He's
Stop
all right.
counting other people's money. Jesus, you're on my celebrity net worth. You're fixated on that 12 million, dude.
Well,
I don't have it.
That's the 12 million you should have, and you don't.
I do. What do you think I'm worth now after all the years?
I don't know. You say you're worth at least this apartment, which you said
Well,
you
what do you
own
think?
free and clear.
I am free and clear. That's right.
You know, I don't know if that counts in your net worth, your primary residence, if that's how they.
Well,
peg it.
net worth it does, sure.
Yeah, you're worth a few million.
Although I would defer to a Jew in that.
And you gave your mother, you know, whatever you gave her.
I technically own that house. I could kick around any time.
Oh, okay. So you still, so that is part of your net worth.
I own two places outright with no mortgage. I do. So I think, Dan, is that part of your net worth? Net worth it is, I guess, right?
Sure.
Yeah, you're worth whatever. You're a few $1 million.
So I'm worth
I
at least
guess.
at least more than where you're living, right? I got to have some. At least
Yeah,
40
maybe
grand.
$5 million.
Money for cupcakes. Well, thank you.
I don't know. Is
That-
that, is
that's-
that a reasonable estimate?
I'd say that's accurate. Yeah. But depending on, I got to check the scores.
Okay.
I got to check the
It
lacrosse.
could change.
I got to check the hockey scores. Well, no. What are you worth?
I got about 60 grand in the bank.
Are you going to inherit money?
I might. Yeah, I might do that.
What do you think you got coming?
A few $100,000.
That's not bad. That's a few $100,000. Dan is a rich kid. Dan Filato is a rich guy. You know that?
This Dan?
Yeah,
over
he
here?
comes from a lot of money.
He says no.
He owns well, of course, that's what the rich people do.
Yeah.
They dress down like Dan. They dress in, windbreakers other people give them to give the appearance of a gutter snipe poor fucking.
But I'll tell you, there's a lot to be said for coming from. Everybody wants to come from nothing if they possibly can do it.
Well, yeah.
Because it's more glamorous. And
It is. It is. And what rich people, and Dan has to do this too, he has to develop his own identity.
But he's not a rich guy. I can look right. He doesn't look like he's
So
rich.
believe me.
Thank you.
I guess owning every laundromat in Chicago
What's your last
means you're
name?
broke.
What's your last name?
Filato.
Filato? Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't ring a bell.
He won the Filato.
Filato oil?
No, every fucking laundromat in Illinois. Every time a minority gets ripped off with a suds machine, he gets
All right.
killed.
My dad owned 3 laundromats. That's it.
Well, that's a fair, but that could certainly make you a decent
Tons.
living. I mean,
He
George
sold-
Jefferson owned 6 or 7. He lived on the Upper East Side.
That's right. And he was black. Real estate, also real estate, and his father saved everything.
Real estate is how you make people make money. If you had given me one development deal in 1995
Right.
for $200,000,
Yeah.
and I invested it right, I'd be richer than everybody.
I had to.
If I had bought a building in in the Lower East Side or whatever.
No, yeah, that's what in 1995 I had 2 deals for $800,000 apiece.
He did.
Yeah, you could have bought real estate and you'd be worth $50 million.
Blew it.
But you got enough.
I mean, I got a nice cup of soup.
You got enough.
Took care of my mother. My mother,
You
that
take care of
bitch,
your-
hasn't paid anything in the fucking last 20 years. I'm sorry.
Well, I think you should feel very good.
I do feel good, but
Yeah,
she doesn't let me feel good. She
you
brings
know.
up the negative shit.
But yeah, you did put her through some stuff. No question.
Okay, but I'd fucking do that.
But she must be so proud of
Oh,
you.
you find your kid bleeding one time, you get a house. What the fuck? I'd make that trade. Anybody would. Find your fat son bleeding on the floor. Okay, can I have a house for you? Yeah, all right, fine. She calls 911, her work's over. Puts on the waterworks for 3 days. I got to feel sorry for her. I'm sorry. Wrong meeting.
Did she come to see you? I
She's
guess she did.
she's unbelievably great.
I remember Nick DiPaolo saying he came to see you
He
after you
did.
stabbed yourself.
It's very touching.
I thought it was just I brought this up I think before,
Right.
maybe on the last podcast.
You
I
did?
think
Okay.
But I was like, I'm thinking to myself, or somewhere. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Nick, but I mean, it's cool that you came to see Artie, but like the night when he was stabbing himself, he could have called you, and he thought, I got a better idea.
What are you doing, stabbing yourself? Yeah, I can't talk right now.
I mean,
The
like
Bruins are on. I know what you're saying.
his choice of evening activities was to hang out with Nick or stab himself.
Oh, okay. I'm glad, by the way, I
And he
gave you a
and
bitch.
and he chose to stab. I tried that bit at the start. I got a friend who like all his friends were coming to the hospital to meet him after he tried to commit suicide. And I'm like, well, if your friendship was so valuable,
That's
why did
right.
he think his life was
I had a
not
choice.
worth living?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You're my friends.
Yeah, these are my friends. I think I'm going to kill myself. Now,
Well, there are
the
variables.
joke never worked because suicide's too heavy.
Would you actually do that?
I didn't use your name, by the way, but
Okay,
you inspired me.
You assumed it.
You inspired me.
Okay. Let's say, did you give it a fake name like Jessica Lang or something? Or
No, I just said a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Or somebody
Well,
I know.
that's being rather strong too.
But nobody laughed because
Nobody laughed because they love me.
no, but I didn't mention you.
They knew who you were talking about.
It could be,
I'm
but we
page
weren't
6
friends
famous.
at the time.
Sure, we were friends.
I don't know.
I've known you a long time. I just avoided
We've
talking.
known each other. I don't know at what point you become friends. Like,
I know what point we're losing friends.
all right, you say right now. We can
I was kind of really right now.
We don't hang out outside the comedy context. Maybe
what do you want to do? I don't hang out with anybody. I don't like anything.
I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying if that's the definition of friendship.
Right.
then
If
we
I'm
don't-
hanging with somebody outside comedy, I mean, they're either on my payroll or I'm fucking them.
Okay. Like I hang out with Dov Davidoff outside comedy.
Do you really? What do you guys do?
We have dinner sometimes.
Really?
He had a
Now, you
barbecue.
guys are an interesting friendship.
We had barbecue last week because he had in his house in Brooklyn.
The
We
by-
had
just the two of yous?
No, there was a whole fucking group, but it was outside comedy.
What was I doing? Stabbing myself?
All right. Well,
Stand by
did he
God.
not? Maybe he didn't think to invite you.
Of course he didn't.
You're too big a star.
Of course, yeah, right. Like I turned that down.
Maneve and I used to hang out a lot. We haven't in a while, but we'll maybe start doing it again soon.
Okay. Well, have you talked to Russ about that?
Yeah, he's away this weekend.
No, he's
Yeah.
not.
No, he's away.
I told you that.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. You comfortable with your sneaker on the couch?
Sorry, it's not on the couch.
I'm kidding.
Ray, you know Aruba Ray Allen. I talked to him.
Aruba Rayon, I'm glad. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so upset he doesn't call.
All right. So that's basically the extent of my.
Well, let's me and you become friends outside comedy.
If you want to, no.
To me, you're always outside comedy.
You're on a roll.
Well, you're teeing them up. What am I not going to swing? It's comedy. But I think you're great, man.
Well, fine. Well, the feeling is mutual. Even
I
though
do love you.
Even though you accuse me of not reciprocating.
Oh no, dude, I'm busting your chops. I know it's hard for you to have emotion.
You're right. It is.
It's hard. Me too. Could you talk to Dan the rest of the night, or? No, I think it. And I seriously want you to come on whenever you want.
All right.
You got something to plug, you know?
Yeah.
You need a place to stay.
Well, I got a place to stay, but
If you get drunk at the barbecue party at Dobbs and you need a place to.
yeah, sure. If somebody that comes on, like maybe that guy Gad, if he comes on,
Who's Gad?
Gad the French guy. If you want to come in, I don't know.
The guy pretended to know.
Okay.
What about Dove? Do you think? Have you ever gotten laid because of Dove?
No,
pussy?
Dove. No. One time I did that. I did. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean seriously, like that analogy: a pussy steps on a pussy landmine. Did you ever get hit with shrapnel?
No, not really.
Well, did you talk to a chick because he was talking like her friend?
Well, Dove usually. Dove. No, he's not. I don't think he's a great wingman. I mean, he's a great ladies' man. But I don't think he's a great wingman.
Did you ever? Were you ever attracted to a chick that you were out all three of us together and Dove at the end of the night forces you to watch him fuck her while you're tied up?
No, but I did watch him fuck a chick once. But I was getting,
What?
I was getting blown at the same time.
Wait a minute.
But that's a
Who
story
was
for another
blowing
day.
you?
This
Oh, well,
chick-
that's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger.
That's a
okay.
cliffhanger. On the next Dan Naturman podcast,
Whenever I come back.
he'll tell the story about
Whenever I come
he
back.
watched Dove
Well,
Davidoff
you can ask Dove.
fuck a chick. I'm gonna wait till he's here too. The story. This is a great cliffhanger. When Dan watches Dove Davidoff fuck